person goes through many changes and confronts with many developmental challenges, but they have to overcome those challenges on the road from infancy to adulthood. Hi, I am Paula Walker and I'm presenting to you the older interview. My older adult is someone I know from the community and has great influence on the younger generation and shares his life's experiences with whomever are willing to listen and learn from him. I interviewed my interviewee, who is at the rightful age of 75. He began his life in Barbados. At the age of 12, he and his family migrated to Trinidad. He adjusted well in school and culturally. He did not perform well academically and was encouraged by his father to repeat his examinations, as his father wanted him to become a medical doctor. But my interviewee was interested and determined to become a mechanic. His father and him had an antagonistic relationship. He began working at age 16 as a mechanic. All of this was against his father's wishes and desires. At the age of 18, he met his future wife, dated and got married soon after. He stayed on this job for several years until he opened his own mechanic shop and retired at an age 65. Here, I look at Erikson's psychological theories of development that comprises of 8 stages. These stages has its implications and benefits of understanding the theory. These 8 stages of development are as follows. First stage, trust versus mistrust. An infant will realize that he or she is dependent on their caregiver, who responds to their needs. That is how they begin to distinguish self from others. At this stage, you can see in the picture where the infant are dependent on their caregiver, the parents, where they feel comfortable and safe. Second stage, autonomy versus shame and doubt. A child is not sure about whether they can do things on their own or do they need someone to assist them. A child can develop a certain amount of independence. In the photo, we can see a child is attempting to tie his shoelace, and this is a form of independence. He's starting to wean off his parents. Imitative versus guilt. At this stage, children begin to affirm their power over the world through interactions between people and play, and by asserting over their environment through different challenges. The photo shows where these kids are playing together. They are pairs and they are interacting by playing. Industry versus inferiority. Entrance to life. A child who experiences the satisfaction of achievement of anything positive will move towards successful negotiation. In the photo, we can see a child is showing that he has an A plus that he achieved during his class test. Fifth stage, identity versus identity confusion. The child has to learn the roles he will occupy as an adult. The child explores the possibilities and begins to form his or her own identity and develops a sense of direction in life. Intimacy versus isolation. Here, explore relationships leading towards longer-term commitments with someone other than a family member. At this stage, an individual seeks his own family, and as such, he or she marries their future spouse. Next stage, generativity versus stagnation. How to contribute to the world. Adults strive to nurture things that they want their children to do, the things that they will have, the world, or something that they will be remembered by. Another stage, ego, integrity versus despair. As we grow older and become senior citizens, we tend to slow down our productivity and explore life as a retired person. These are Erikson's 8 stages that we all faced or go through. At this point, it is noteworthy that proceedings that took place in my interviewee's life. Significant events occurred in my interviewee's life between the ages of 12 to 18. He migrated to a new country called Trinidad. He was not performing well in school exams. He failed his academics examination. His relationship with his father was an antagonistic one. His father was repeatedly hostile towards him. He was faced with oppositions and made major decisions about his future at a young age. He began working early, dated, and got married and had his own family. At this point, my client showed some form of independence. Identity versus role confusion. Erikson's 5th stage. This stage was the main focus on my client as he gave his life history. It was compared to this stage. Identity versus role confusion. My interviewee, he was trying to come into his own, what his role was going to be for the rest of his life. That is, having his own identity and personality. He had to go against his father's decision. He developed strength, learned to stand on his own, knew what he wanted for himself and his future. He explored and discovered his independence and sense of self. At this stage, it is fair to say that my interviewee was strong. He had his independence. He had his own identity. He knew what he wanted, and he stood ground to whatever. Despite his father's wishes and desires for him to become a medical doctor, he proved to himself that he can be successful as a mechanic and show his own independence. In conclusion, it is something everyone will go through, and experiences will always be different. The better that people come through each crisis, the better they will tend to deal with what lies ahead. But this is not to say that all is lost and never to be recovered. If a person has had a negative experience during any particular crisis stage, lessons can be revisited successfully when they recur if we recognize and welcome them. My client went through the 8 stages of Erikson's psychosocial development. However, the main focus was on the 5th stage, identity versus role confusion. It is fair also to say that we all go through these stages, and we have to determine which one of the stages that is strong that we focus on. However, he was successful, he had gained independence, he was able to wean off of his parents, he had his own identity, he was able to stand on his own and succeed in every sense of the word. And as such, he are able now to pass on his knowledge and experience to people like myself. Thank you.